items that were brought up before this break took place, which I'd like to go back to, and one of them is the yud letter with a dot in it. I mentioned that the yud can be signed of a long chirik, or the yud could be following a short chirik below, and therefore has a dagesh chazak in it. What came to mind immediately was the word shear. That word shear is a good indication of the long chirik. As you can see the word again, CVC, the chirik underneath the shin letter followed by the yud. There's nothing underneath the yud like a shvanah or a shvanach if you wish. There's no dot in that yud, and so I gave the word shir. Other words are very common. What is not that common is a yud with a dot in it. And then during the hafsakah, during the break, I looked at the word chart that Med the Coffin provided, and sure enough, there's a word that has the yud with a dot in it. The word is one of the basic words of Safa Ivrit, modern Hebrew, and also Lashon HaKodesh, sacred Hebrew, and that is the word Sion. The word that translates as Zion, notice how I write it. The word Sion. I have the tzadi letter, I have a chirik underneath that tzadi, I have a yud that follows, and the first assumption is it's a long chirik. That's the way might appear if you write Hebrew without vowels. If you write Hebrew without vowels, you might think this is a long chirik, C. But if you look with the vocalization, you have a digation at yud, which means the yud is being sliced, it's being doubled, and the first yud is closing at short chirik, CVC, and the second yud starts the second syllable, CVC, long vowel, closed, irregular, and accented. So the word Sion is written with a yud and a dagesh hazak in that yud. It's very important that we understand that yud letter. It's a consonant, it's also a sign of a vowel, and it's not just simply the sign of a long chirik. That yud could also be the sign of a long seri. The yud could also be the sign of a long segel. But its more frequent usage is a yud following a chirik. Okay, that takes care of that one, no word of repetition. Another phrase that I did not go much into are the so-called consonants, the letters known as the liquid letters. We went into the bilabials, labiodentals, laryngeals, etc. But then there is a group known as the liquid letters. The liquid letters are the letter Nun, the letter Lamed, and the letter Resh. Where do they get their name liquid? I don't know, except that probably saying the letters, it like flows out of you. Lamed, nun. I don't know. That could be the reason. As far as the three liquids are concerned, the resh has another distinguished quality to it. It is one of the five letters for our purposes that cannot be doubled. Otherwise, you treat the nun, the lamed, like a regular consonant. They're not laryngeal letters, etc. Okay.
My question is, do they affect the, like, say, like, you have a savannah, if it has the letter
Okay,
behind
no,
it, that
okay,
affects
I
any
understand.
road
The
traffic?
question is, would it affect the shvana, etc.? The answer is no. The shvana is only associated when it's changed to the hatafim with the laryngeal letters, the four laryngeals. Has nothing to do with the letter resh. The resh can receive a shvana, as in the word ritzu, a command which means want something, ritzu. No, the so-called laryngeal letters cannot take the shvana. The letter resh and the other letters can. Okay, let's now go on.
Oh, I'm sorry, one question. What is Sion? You hear so much of it, Sion. What in the liturgy, the literature that led to the establishment of Israel, where does that come from?
Okay, the question is asked, what makes the word Sion, translates as Zion, so special when it comes to literature, etc.? The answer is going to shock you. The word Sion, the root of that word, the root is Tzadi Yud Nun. Whenever we give the root of a word, if a letter has a final letter associated with it, we don't write the final letter. We write it like a regular letter. So the Sada Yud Nun, the verb Sada Yud Nun means to make a mark, to make a mark, to make the mark, to make the mark. And the word Sion is nothing more than the place where the mark, in this case, the mark of El, is made. It goes back to the story associated with Abraham, Isaac, and the Akedah, and the binding of Isaac, or the sacrificial offering of Isaac on Mount Moriah, which tradition associates with the city of David later and with Jerusalem. That's all it means. God's mark on earth. Now let me extend it. God's signature on earth is the Zion, is a land known as Zion. Not the land, a specific place.
So missing the with this, that's the mark. With the concept of Judaism of a head, a sin is missing the mark.
Yeah, okay. Well, if you want to see it that way.
I've heard an explanation.
Okay, well,
like
missing the mark. Oh, then you have the phrase "Ki mitzion tetzei Torah dvar Hashem Yerushalayim." Just listen to the phrase found in Isaiah. Mitzion, Ki Mitzion from Jerusalem, from Zion, Ki Mitzion tetzei Torah. The teaching comes forth. Dvar Hashem. The next line balances that first one. The word of the Lord from Jerusalem.
That's in daily prayers, or at least in Shabbos.
It's found in the book of Isaiah. It's found probably in daily prayers as well. Don't you see, the first usage of the word Sion to make a mark is back in the day. God's mark on earth is the testing of Abraham when he bring his Bechor, his legitimate firstborn son. It wasn't his firstborn. His first child, you might say, is from the concubine Hagar. And you better believe she went into tears when another child had to be born.
Hagar was an Egyptian princess, Pharaoh's daughter. So you mix the Egyptians with the Jews, when they breed, then you get what one people call the Arabs, but that's not the only peoples that were out there.
Forget about all that stuff. The point is that she was given over by Sarah. Sarah said, "Take my take my associates." She wasn't voluntarily giving herself over to Abraham. So there's a connection there. That's why Abraham Avinu, Ibrahim, if you wish, is so much seen as a heart, as a father also of Islam. Only they have a different twist to it. We were the firstborn. You guys were the second. That's what happens when you have a Torah versus a Quran. But as far as this goes, the mark of God on earth was the testing, in our case, of Isaac. And Abraham had no problem bringing his son, but he did have a problem. And according to tradition, it was Isaac who told his father, Abba, it's okay. I'm prepared for this. And another thing that has to be corrected, as long as we're talking this way, is that Isaac was not a little child. He was a man.
Years old.
He was in his 20s, exactly.
36 years old.
Yeah, well, he was an older man.
He could have overpowered him.
All right, but the point is, it wasn't a baby that was being offered.
And he knew he was going to be offered. He said, "Take the sweet smell of my incense to my mother." And the angel of death told Sarah that he had slaughtered him, and she died from that.
Mother Sarah, first of all, hearing that a son of hers finally has to be offered up, naturally broke her. And she was completely removed from the Akedah. But the word reached her? Of course. Anyway, and then later, as tradition develops, you have the kingdoms, you have King David, whatever. Then the Sion becomes more political, you might say, more sovereign, more nationalistic.
Is the word Sion explicitly stated in the Akia, in the Akida?
No, it's not.
Oh, it's inferred by Gemara and traditions. And yes.
We're going making a mark. You're asking the meaning of the word sign. It's making a mark, and it's God's mark, G-O-D.
Also another thing related to this is the bris milah. It's the covenant, which is Hashem's signature on the person, which made the body kakodush. That's why they took an oath on the thigh, euphemism for the bris.
All right, these are Ashkenazi traditions. I'm just giving you a basic meaning of the word Sion. It means nothing more than comes from the verb to make a mark. And if you want to see the Brit Milah to me, the mark of a Jewish babe, then I guess it could be called Sion too as well. I'm not associated, I'm not familiar with that. Or take the situation of the Garber clan. 2 days ago, I got an email from my sister, and she wrote to a number of people in which she mentioned she's now a great grandmother again, which means a great grandmother, not a grandmother, a great grandmother. My sister had 2 daughters. Each one of them produced daughters after daughters.
Their grandmothers, so their daughters are
Wait a minute, let me just make the point. All the children of my sister who lost her husband last year around this time, show you how irony works. They're all girls. There's now a boy born in the family. First time ever. There may be 17 girls. Less than that, but definitely around 10. All girls, all girls. The girl that gave birth, I saw her at my sister's 90th birthday in December. Her name is Miranda. Miranda is not married to a Jew. He has no problem having a child raised as Jewish.
What is he?
I don't know what he is. I just met him.
Oh.
He's a decent person, according to my sister. Whatever, they don't put that insistence, I guess, on it. Now, that's not the issue right now. Miranda gave birth in the hospital. The picture my sister sent is the mother with the baby by the name of Jonah. Circumcision took place already by a doctor. Esther said, I know you're going to be disturbed by it. It's not my decision.
Yeah, but ultimately, it's
Wait a minute.
A prick by Moho to elevate the
Of course, a Mayo should have done it.
No, Moho could still go in there and prick one
Yeah,
drop of blood.
well, I understand. That already will be a decision later on.
Yeah, no,
It's not,
yeah.
anyway, but they want to have a naming for the baby, etc., etc. And they want to name it after my sister's husband, who will be the grandfather. His name was Walter. He had a Hebrew name, Ze'ev, at least he thought he did. So all of a sudden the baby's name Jonah is going to go Zev, so I don't know if that's going to work. But anyway, wait a minute, this is what goes on here. So if you see the Brit Milah done by a Mohel, you might basically see it as the mark of the covenant of what's called a Brit, of the covenant done in the flesh. But to go the step that you did, Baruch, and to call it a Tzion is interesting. I'm not familiar with that association. Does the Sfardim call it a Tzion?
No.
Okay. I would suspect the word to make a more deals with the land, statehood, let's use that term. Anyway, it's just interesting. And the kings of England, until recently, all their male children were circumcised by a moil on the 8th day, thanks to Queen Victoria. Okay, back to our Hebrew. There's one word in the found here, the word gadi. The word gadi translates as a young kid or goat. Okay, when you have the word kid, you associate that word kid with a child. That word kid, here's a good example using English now of how language can throw you, for God's sakes. That word kid is not necessarily a child. The word kid can also mean a young goat, G-O-A-T. And that word gadi is particularly important because of a ritual that's mentioned in the Torah 3 times. Lo tevashel gadi b'chalev imo. Do not cook a kid in its mother's milk. No explanation is given. It's mentioned twice by Shavuot. It's mentioned once by prohibitions.
Let me ask you a question. So the goat to Azazel, it's a goat too as well?
I'm sorry?
When they throw the goat, they put a ribbon on it and they put it to a precipice and it falls off the cliff.
Okay,
that's a goat as well.
That's right. That's also goat, yes. But it's interesting. Do not cook a kid in his mother's milk. As far as tradition goes, that is normally seen as the reason for separation of milk and meat. Do not cook a kid in his mother's milk. I see it as part of history could be a rain ritual following Ugaritic tradition, which does have the command of cooking a kid in its mother's milk, pouring the milk on the ground as part of a fertility rite to bring on rains.
Did they cook it while the kid was alive? The goat was alive?
The goat was alive. And the holiday of Shavuot happens with the giving of the Torah. That's supposed to get us through the summer months, which is called Kayas, which is called summer, which is called no rain, which is called all that stuff. So it has something to do with fertility, possibly, the produce of the land, and then the eating. If it deals with separation of milk and meat, nothing can be more basic than that. A meat meal without a glass of milk? No, you can't have milk. And it's based on that verse. And then there's another verse, the Parah Adumah, the so-called red heifer. Let's get down that word. I know, we have to do Hebrew. I am doing Hebrew right now. The word parah is a cow, a heifer, Adumah. I'll spell it this way.
Duma, like from Adama, the ground?
The word Adumah is red. Yes, you can see the word Adamah, red earth. There is a connection with the word with Adom. You're coming in too fast. The word Adom, Adam. The word Adam first. Edom, redness. They're all connected. You could also have the word blood from this, dam. But the red heifer. You showed me a tape. I looked at that tape. A Chabad rabbi gives a talk. He comes from Afghanistan. He says the commandments you ought to not say. He mentions one called the Parah Adumah. No explanation is given. No explanation is given. You do it because Hashem says.
What's it called? A hok, a commandment? What's it called?
Yeah, the word is hok. Hok, all right, let me go into that for a second. But that's his point. The fact that you have something as a commandment, you naas it, you do it, and then you spend your hours reflecting on why you did what you had to do. It doesn't give you an excuse to first find a reason why you're doing it, then you do it, because you'll never find a reason that will satisfy everybody. That's the naaseh. And if you heard my lecture on it, it's when Moses reads the Sefer Brit, the Book of the Commandments, then you have the word nishma, then you have the word we shall understand it once it's written down. But orally, it's just simply do, you do. Now, regarding those three words, don't mind me taking the Hebrew now away a little bit, but let's just get it down right now. You have three words. You have the word mishpat. You have the word chok. You have the word mitzvah. The word mishpat is judgment. This is where you have judgment based upon reason, explanation, argument, and then you make a decision. So the judge is called a shofet, comes to that same shorish, shin pei tet. A chok is without explanation. It's a statutory statement. It's natural law. It's what happened in the last 24 hours. You're not even aware of it. An earthquake has shook half the world already.
It's like, don't worry about the reason, just do it. Only
It happens.
That's what it is.
If you know how to prepare for it, fine. It happens. That's a chok. A mitzvah already has God commanding. It's a commandment. It's divine, I guess. The 613 commandments.
I was looking at the mitzvah, the end was missing a part on there.
Yeah. And then there's other language. You have words by God. Vayomer, he said. Vaydaber, he spoke. Vayikra, he called. Now, of all three words, the strongest word is Vaydaber. God spoke. It's stronger than God said or God called. That's playing upon Hebrew right now. Yeah, that's what he said. That rabbi used that word chok. It's a commandment without rationale to our eyes or ears. So you do it, And then you do the nishma part. Try to understand why you did, even though no explanation seems to be obvious at first. The red heifer. And the red heifer has come down as the first sacrificial offering once the Jews build their third temple, of which there are a number of Jews who are waiting right now to do it. And there is a red heifer. There are several of them, my dear Baruch, and you're going to be shocked.
Genetically
You're going to be
engineered.
shocked. They're being raised by Gentiles.
Genetically engineered, not purely red, have carried a load.
Whatever. There is a farm in Tennessee or one place in America. There's also something in Israel, I'm sure, where they're raising a red heifer. They truly expect this to happen now.
Yeah, but that's gotta come from a shame.
Well, now
not from a laboratory. It's
well,
gotta come from
well,
Bino
not,
Shalom. Low laboratory.
well, that's where you'll say we don't need science now. It's got to be a hope. Don't you see how you get squeezed out of it?
Yeah.
And quite frankly, if there's going to be a bite, Shlishi, they're going to bring a red heifer. You and I are not going to make that decision. The rabbi will probably be screaming of what's happening.
But when the 10th heifer comes, the night in history, Mashiach,
Well, then now you bring a
the
Mashiach.
Mashiach will slaughter the 10th heifer. So the heifer is a precursor to Mashiach, and Eliyahu Hanavi will announce it. So without those two conjunction events, and then that goes to complicated stuff. But it's not going to be like
Well, that's the reason I give you to calm you down, not to worry about it.
Oh, man.
Anyway, we'll just go into some of these words. All right, let me just go further now. Let's get some more Hebrew down before we have to say. Okay, the word that I word Gedi. There's a word here called for battles. On drill number 9, I'm looking at one word, the word battle, kravot. All right, here again, the word itself will have a translation in English. The English will be different, but I think the thinking behind it is similar. If I say war, W-A-R, if I say battle, B-A-T-T-L-E, if I say skirmish, I guess all those words deal with contact, deal with damage, but the word war is most severe. We say World War I, World War II. We don't say World Battle I. War has that implication, like the word mitzvah. So in Hebrew, we have the word milchama. We saw that word the other day. Milchama is a word for war, battle if you want, and it deals with lechem. It deals with bread. She gives us now another word, kravot. Kravot. She translates that word kravot, I believe, as battle. Yes, kravot, battles. So if this word is battles, then milchama is stronger. It's the word for war. Let's take a look at a translation of the word milchama. I can give you my translation, but to be fair, let's just take a look a page before, and she has that word on page 18, milchama, she translates as war. Okay, fighting over land, fighting over bread, fighting over survival, that's war. Meanwhile, a battle is less severe. First, let's break the word into syllabication. You have the kuf letter, shvana, you have the resh letter, kamatz, first syllable, second CVC, and again go over everything we said. As shva is the first letters in shvana. Kamatz is one place removed or accented. Here it's one place removed for the accent. The accent is the last syllable, long vowel close, needs to be accented. The last syllable has two bigger capital letters. A bigger capital letter is not going to be plosive if it follows a vowel. The vet letter follows the kamatz. The tav letter follows the cholam. And the word has a feminine marker. If I ask you to come up with the singular, you just imagine you take the cholam tav and you write the word krava. Sorry for my awkward spelling. Krava. What's the origin of the word battle? Any word that has a kuf duration of it sounds like the word karov.
Oh, that's where they get Krav Maga from. Contact combat?
Yeah, karov means close. So the word battle is not from a distance pushing a button, dropping a bomb. It's face to face.
Hand combat.
Yeah, or what you call combat. Good to know origins of words because they help us with other words that have the same origin as well. Okay, let me go still further. Losing my sight here. Okay, I see another word, the word kesherim. The word kesherim translates as fit or proper. Yeah, let's just get that word down because that's one word everybody knows, but nobody knows the word. The word in English is kosher. 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 Watch what I'm about to do. This is not meant to be an exercise to show my knowledge. It's an exercise to correct misconception done by everybody. The English language has kosher. You would then assume that the Hebrew language will have kosher as well. This word does not exist in Hebrew. The word in Hebrew is kasher. What? I said the word in Hebrew is kasher. It's not kosher.
It would be kashrut.
Wait a minute. Kashrut and all those words there are borrowed, you might say. But kashrut goes to kasher. Just let me finish. What makes this thing interesting is my memory as a child. I went with my mother many times shopping. We went to a place that had these words on the window. That word was meant to be the word basar. It was written without vowels. This word was meant to be the word kasher. I referred to the store window as kosher, kosher. Never used the word basar. I saw the word kosher, and I assumed the bet shin I thought it was is kosher. And then the word kasher. Kasher means something fit, something proper. And that's why it's important that we see our transliteration here. So she has the word kasherim. You take the word kasher, you make it plural, you add the chirikud mem, kamatz, two places removed for the accent, reduced to the shvana. All right, let's get down some more words. I'm looking for words. The word kisafim. Kisafim, the word translates as funds or finances. Again, you see a word that looks like the paradigm of a beggar kefil word. Sorry, of a seglet noun. The word given is kisafim. The vocalization is a shva, a kamatz, a chirikud mem. The singular of this word is kesef. Kesef means silver. It's used today as the word for money. Segelet, like Yeled, Yiladim, Kisafim. Continuing, the word klita is now found. Klita is absorption. The word klita is important when you talk about an absorption agency in Israel. When you make immigration to Israel, Aliyah, you normally have the state supporting your activity, at least for 6 months, maybe longer, maybe shorter now. And you have an absorption center, a place to live as well. The word klita. It's one of these words that enters into English. You pick up this word immediately. Klita. C-I-N-C-V, the first syllable. C-V with C in brackets is the second. Another word that comes to mind as I'm looking at the words right now. Well, take the word for blue. The word for blue. She has the spelling blue without vowels. She has a spelling with vocalization. Again, a reason why vocalization is important. You'll notice that the vowel underneath the het is a kubitz. It's not a long shurk. So it's C-ion, CVC, C-ion, C, short vowel, closed by Dagesh Hazak and Lamed. That's where the CI-CVC comes in. Lamed then has the CVC. When a letter has a dot in it, how much more so if it's not a big or capital letter, the dot will always be a Dagesh Hazak. And the accent is the last syllable. Long vowel close is accented. Right without vowels, that oo is written with a vav. Without vowels, how do I know the word? I don't. I can read it as kecholim. Read this as a no sound, not as a new sound. That's where the vocalization will help us. Okay, as we then continue. And then the signal of that word, kehulim, is the word kachol. Okay. All right. I'm looking now at drill number 10, where you have the vowels involving the yah sound. She has words like shalom, word like aravit, word like ahava, word like lama. Okay, let's take two words for this one. The word ahava. I always double check the spelling to make sure we got it right. Ahava. That root of that word ahava is aleph, hey, bet. Aleph, hey, bet means to like, L-I-K-E. It also has the implication more often to love. So I guess if you intensely like something, you could say you're loving something. The Surish, I mean now the Slavication, the Aleph has a Hatapata 100. You indicate it with the letter ayin. You go on with the next combination. The hey is a kamatz. You stop right there. Medial kamatz is either accented or one place. Normally the accent will be on the last syllable, removed for the accents. So it's CI and CV and CV with C in brackets. And any root that has an olive hay bit will deal with to love. All right, let's take one more word. The word na'ar. Look at the word na'ar. Where it's vocalized, she shows the accent if it's not the last syllable. This is how you write it. CV is the first syllable. That patak is a short vowel, open syllable. It has to be closed. Ayin cannot take a dagesh hazak. Ayin does not have a shranach under it. First syllable is open, therefore accent. Second syllable is CVC. We don't say na'ar. It's na'ar, na'ar. And then there's a word that is given, which is very unusual. The word for why. Look at the spelling of that word. You have a lamed, a mem, and a hey. You have a dagesh in that mem. What Edna does not show is the accent on that word. No, she does not. And let me play upon that word. The word means why. Why does she not show the accent on that lamed? The word as you see it is a lamed, a kamatz. There's a dot in that mem. So it's CVC of kamatz in a closed syllable needs to be called a short kamatz. Second syllable is CV and C in brackets.
So llama is why. What is what?
I'm going to it.
Why?
Notice how you said the word lama. I say lama. I don't say lama. The way it is written in the printed book of Edna Coffin gives the impression that's a short kamatz, closed syllable. She puts a dot in that mem, or does she not? I'm going to double check the spelling of that word. There's a dagesh in that mem.
That you
Or
read?
maybe, wait a minute, maybe there isn't.
What page are you on?
Wait a minute.
Come on, page.
I'm looking at page 22, the third line down, left side. There probably is no dot in that mem. How much more so is there an error? If
Well,
this
right here it says there's a mem, a dot in the mem.
is there a dot in the mem?
Maybe not in your print, but on this one there's a dot in the mem.
Okay, then I'm reading correctly.
There's a lamed, kamatz, mem dot,
Okay. All right. Then there's a dot in the mem. This is not my book originally. It's somebody's book. I left it behind. And I now use it for myself. Okay, there's a dot in the mem. Okay, and how much more so? CVC, the way I have it. How much more so? It should be a short kamatz. She doesn't show any accent. And CV here. I am now giving you the word where the accent is on that first syllable. The word is pronounced as lama, not lama.
So, but with that dot, it shouldn't double the mem.
The mem has been doubled. It's a closed syllable, but if you have a kamatz baruch and a closed syllable accented, it's a medium kamatz.
But as far as the mem,
The mem is
not.
doubled, yes. The first mem closes that kamatz. The second mem starts the second syllable.
So please, just for example, illustration, pronounce it.
Lama.
The Israelis don't pronounce it like this. Lama.
You wanted me to pronounce it, so I went with the doubling of the mem. No, people say lama. The main thing is people hit that first syllable.
Yeah.
The question is a kamatz in a closed syllable should not be seen as a short kamatz. And here is where a new grammatical point is being introduced. We've seen a dot in a letter primarily as a sign of a Becker Keppel letter beginning a word or following a consonant. We've seen a dot in a letter primarily to double the letter to close the short vowel before. And now the third usage of a dot in a letter is called the dagesh l'tiferet hakriya, the dot for the beauty of reading. Let's get down a new word, a new phrase, a new everything. The word dot in Hebrew is dagesh. Le, tiferet. For the beauty of. Le is the word to, tiferet, beauty of, hakriya, of the reading. When you say reading without any explanation, it refers to the reading of the Torah. There are several words in Hebrew which purposely get a dot, not because of grammar, but for the beauty of reading. One such word is lama. Why so? Because in the average synagogue, how many hours can you stay there and keep your eyes open? Or better, you're reading about the Parah Duma, let's say, and you're asking the question, when can it be brought? Is it really a kosher product? Is it really kosher? Lama! The purpose of the beauty of reading is to wake you up. Lama! Why? I cannot think of a better word. Why? Baruch, you're a good example. Why?
So what is what?
Why?
But what is what in Hebrew?
What is what?
Yeah, what is what? The Hebrew word for what?
Ma.
Ma? Oh, okay.
Ma is what? Lama. Has nothing to do with what. I see, maybe you want to make a connection. The word what in Hebrew is ma, spelled with a patach. The word lama has a mem hey at the end. Is there a connection? I don't think so. But you can easily, you know, take these words and pull them apart. This is called a dot for the beauty of reading. Grammatically, it's not necessary. But the very fact that you have a long kamatz, or medial kamatz rather than a closed syllable, you should show the accent. That's what it's called.
It's interesting because this is the first time I encountered I guess for the beauty of reading. There was a weak one, there was
Well,
a strong one, and then there's for the beauty of reading. There's three.
well, that's it. There may be several other words that have that. In other words, the kamatz closed syllable, you expect it to be a short kamatz. And she doesn't even bother to show you the accent there. Okay. How much more time do we have?
As long as you want to go.
It's got to be an end too.
No, whatever you want to end it. Go ahead.
All right, then let me just do a few more words. Then. Okay, I'm looking now on page 22. Words like todah. Let me go over that word. The word oni. Let me go over that word. Okay, let me just take 3 more words. These words are good common words. The word for thanks, todah. Very basic word in Hebrew. Todah. Thank you. When someone says todah, the response, the equivalent of you're welcome, is bevakasha. Let me get down the phrase right now.
So, bevakasha is please, isn't it?
That's right. Just 1 minute. First thing is the grammar. Todah, 2 syllables. CV is the first syllable. CV and C in brackets the second. Bevakasha, the constant bit, again, the gesh kal, getting you the words from underneath the first letter of the word. C, ayin, the second bit, you'll notice has no dagesh in it. Cannot be a dagesh kal, it's following by half vowel. So it's C, ayin, and this is pronounced as a V sound. Biva, C, has a patach 100, short vowel, closed by dagesh kazak and a kuf. C, ayin, CVC is the second syllable. The third syllable is CV with a kamatz, medial vowel, open syllable. The last syllable is CV, the C in brackets. The word bevakasha is the word for please. It comes from the shorish bet kufshin, which means to request. Bevakesh, to request.
Oh, that's what it means?
The root of the word bevakasha is the root bet kufshin. The vakesh, conjugated the P conjugation, means to request something. When you say please, please behave, you're requesting something. Just watch how I'm saying the word, bevakasha. And then when you say the equivalent of you're welcome, when someone says todah, you respond bevakasha. As if to imply please, but with a tone mild, a mild tone.
What about when you're asking for something?
When you ask bevakasha, I'm saying the word bevakasha is a customary response to someone saying todah.
But I'm asking the alternative when you're saying,
When you
please,
want something,
please give me something, please.
when you say bevakasha whenever you want something.
Is it at the beginning or at the end? Depends. How you want to.
And he wrote sekafe bevakasha. You could say it at the end as well. But it's interesting how that bevakasha gets humbled, as if to say, The respondent who's being thanked for something is saying please. And the only reason I can give you, Baruch, and don't go crazy, is that the word Todah, it deals with confession. The root of the word thank you is vidui. Vidui, confession. Vidui. What are you saying, Professor Garber? When someone does something and someone is grateful, someone is saying, I thank you from my heart. You helped me. You didn't ask questions. You helped me. For example, I had a physical therapist this morning. We talked about my situation. I mentioned to him, I have to get an instrument in my car to break a window by July 1st. If I don't, I could be fined $200.
Oh, I have one at my house. I'll bring it to you on Thursday.
No, wait, he's going to bring me something.
Oh, I have bought three at Ross the other day. I'll bring you one.
Then you bring. I said to Gary, the Armenian, I said, I'll pay you. I think he went, what are you talking about? I don't want any payments. Do you understand? Then you say Todah. Todah is not just simply Todah. It carries with it a certain self-conviction. I really appreciate what you said.
But the Vidui also goes to the prayer that we say every day.
Well, that's right. That's why. Wait a minute. That's why when you do your prayers in Modernity in Spanish Israel, it's our way of saying thank you.
Well, you also say Vidui because you never know where you're going to die. You won't have that chance to say it at that time.
Irrelevant. The fact that
So
you
that's
had,
why we say
the
Vidui.
fact that you had a moment,
Relevant.
the fact that you had a living moment to say something, that's already your confessional. You can do all kinds of interpretations, but the Todah that's basically responded for your welcome is a way of saying, I'm corresponding to your requests, and I'm grateful that you accept what I've done. That's behind that Bevakashat, when someone says Todah. Oh, I'm sure there are other interpretations. Let's just finish up one more, 2 words, because it's already taking hold on me right now.
Oh, okay, no problem.
No, let me finish another word or two. That's my request. Bevakasha, let me finish something. Okay, the word for uncle. Well, first of all, you got the word Torah before that. Torah is spelled CV with C in brackets. Underneath that word Torah, the word for uncle or beloved. Go figure that out. Go figure that word out. The word for uncle is Zod. The same 3 letters, Baruch, are also the word for beloved, as in Dodi, my beloved. I am from my beloved is to me. Dodi Liva Nila Dodi. What the hell is the connection between uncle and beloved? Could really be that parents somehow just take your kids for granted? I don't know. And it so happens the birth that took place in the Garber family clan, I'm the great great uncle in all this.
Isn't that great?
And then you have David. Don't forget David. David by himself can be spelled this way. All kinds of combinations. Let's take one more word, the word oni. The word for poverty, the word for poor. What makes this word interesting is how I say the word, oni, 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 spelled with a chataf kamatz. Here, this is rare. A chataf kamatz. It's an or sound. It's C-I-N-C-V.
And a mourner is what? An onam?
An onan.
Is it related?
I guess. And you can almost see a connection. Poverty, loss of someone. Yeah, the word is on. The word is on. Let me just double check. These are basic words, but you can almost see that the spelling would be connected with the word oni.
It's okay that we could just call it a wrap and we could go ahead and
No,
do
let me
the
just.
administration
Well,
of
this
all
is. Wait a minute. This is for me a learning experience as well. Let me just see if I have the word. Probably none. 1 minute. Anan by itself is a cloud. It doesn't have the word in here. Okay. There's a word called onaid, which is practicing soothsaying. The word anan with two commas is a word for clouds. A word I know.
Oh, the one for soothsaying, you mean divination?
Ani with a kamatz by itself is a pauper. Oni is poverty, it's with hatav kamatz. Okay, a mourner doesn't have it in Hebrew. Okay.
No, because there's also like a Gemara that says a person that is like living, not making a living and stuff like that is a person like a person that's not living.
Okay. No, the word for mourner is avil. I know that word. Actually, avil. No, avil. The word for mourner, avil.
So what's an onan?
It also means a mourner.
Oh.
Onan. The problem is, let me just see if it has this word onan. It has the word oni for poverty, affliction. Oni. Onain. Onain to practice soothsaying. Does not have the word like you said. I mean, what you said sounds good to me, but I don't see it here. Okay, but then again, we make up words too. I mean, the words sound so kosher, we just use it. I don't know. But probably the more correct word is avail. And avelah will be the word for female. And what makes this word oni so interesting is the word anan, a cloud. Cloud. And when clouds come overhead, the sun is not seen anymore. Could be tragedy. Or it could be rains, that could be for good.
How do you say clouds of glory? Clouds of glory?
I don't know. You take the word clouds, it will be ane as far as the construct goes in the plural.
The reason I mentioned it was because
And then you have the word glory. Hallelujah. I don't know.
because Moshe Rabbeinu, the tradition we get our etrog from Calabria is because Moshe Rabbeinu sent shluchim and clouds of glory, actual clouds, to fly to Calabria
Then
and come back with
find
etrog.
a pasuk in the Torah that has it.
Yeah. Well, that's more like Gemara and other stuff like that.
I'm just simply doing my own reconstruction. Okay. It's just interesting how different words have similar roots to them. And if you think a lot about it, you can see connections. You can make connections. Let's put it that way. Okay.
Thank you very much.